Security Council is doing to avert a crisis coming at us. Because look, remember when we had this, what's the Burkina coup? Recently, there was an issue where the terrorist groups blocked a road and traders got trapped on that road. They burnt about 15 trucks. It affected our onion importers. Right. So it's an issue that exists and has to be addressed. And we have to show more leadership as ECOWAS. When you go and take, I almost went off track to go and talk about the leader of ECOWAS and his age. Sorry. When we don't take these things seriously, at the end of the day, the young ones will be the ones to suffer. You know why? Because when we are old and gone, they are going to live with the consequences of the decisions that we failed to make. Yeah. So, as leaders, birth at a time such as this, leading in an era where the phenomena has now come into our territorial region, and knowing very well the consequences of us not taking action or playing with it, the possible outcomes of such a phenomenon. We have seen what has happened to the Middle East. We have seen what has happened to Afghanistan. All the countries that have pursued and allowed these things to go on, we've seen the consequences. Today, if you go to a country like Libya, bless, a country that was prospering less than 16 years ago, today, innocent people who, because of lack of opportunities in the south, migrating to Europe, are now caught, used as body parts, sustaining a black market of organ transplants and transfers, and their families back home are just still waiting for them to say, come up with a phone call and say, I have reached Europe. And that call will never come because they didn't make it. So let us as a region, let us as a sub-region, as a continent, take this issue seriously and take it out of our territories. Whoever wants to go and engage in terrorism and ammunition imports and all these things that fester this thing, we just have to clear them out. The regional bloc should take a firm decision. Once you've taken the Americans out, the French are out, who's left now to fight terrorism? The Russians. Yeah. When would they say they are also leaving? They are fighting a war. Their resources is still going into a fight with Ukraine, which has now lasted over almost 2 years now, and there's no sight of peace. They are there, and oh yes, they are still clearing themselves, and there's no sign of them coming to any peaceful settlements. The peaceful settlement exists with Europe taking a decision, and Europe is quiet. So, in conclusion, let ECOWAS set up and do the needful. It is time for ECOWAS to show leadership in terms of security affairs in the sub-region to curtail the further decay of our sub-region.
Right, thank you, Gabi. Dr. Ramsey.
Yes, plus, once again, I would like to say a very good morning to your cherished viewers, and a very good morning to our founder and leader of the Movement for Change, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramartin. Bless, the issue in Niger is a sad one again and again and again, and this phenomenon has been growing in our sub-region, especially when you look at the current geopolitics of the world now, where the pro-communist regime of Russia and China and that of Cuba are fighting with the West, for especially that of Russia and China, for supremacy in the world. And we clearly see it in our political dispensation as far as West Africa is concerned. The U.S. troops in Niger, I think that over a period of time hasn't contributed significantly to the peace and security of Niger. What Niger's leader, or the leader of the junta, is doing it's clearly a position that has been expressed by the desires of his people. But unfortunately as well, there are a lot of lapses in the security issues, right? And he inviting the Russians to also come, especially in the form of the Wagner Group, that don't have any clear, good record as far as Africa is concerned. If you look at the wars in Central African Republic, the records that they've left there, right? They've raped innocent women, they've killed innocent citizens, yes, in the Central African Republic. Yes, the Wagner Group. They've left those clear, yes, repugnant records there. And so clearly, I don't think that taking away the U.S. troops and then replacing them with the Russians, it's a solution, right? What the UN should also do is that they should also pay their quota, right, to ensure that Niger, which is currently suffering from the anthropogenic activities of highly industrious nations in the West, as far as climate change is concerned, right? Climate change has affected the lives of a lot of poor peasant farmers in Niger. And they depend on agriculture, petty agriculture for their livelihood, right? But currently, the UN has failed to support them in this regard. I will not even talk about the African Union and ECOWAS because these entities are not living up to their expectations. And that is why today we are so vulnerable to the external geopolitics of the world between the West and then Russia. And so clearly, I would have wished that the US government would do more to enhance the social and economic development of our sub-region and have an egalitarian economic cooperation between us and them. We don't want to always cooperate militarily. Yes, we have peace and security issues, which is a great threat onto the economic and societal progress of our people. But yes, we want to also have this collaborative cooperation so that we can also leapfrog our people from poverty to prosperity. Bless, I must also say that there's a looming threat, and Ghana is not out of the woods yet. Bless, this current government, and I'm saying it on air today, has enjoyed the benefits, right, of certain extremist groups that are laundering money here. And I'm saying it emphatically. Yes, you have groups like Hezbollah. You have the Fetullah movement of Turkey. That's the government of Ghana has been warned against to classify them as a terrorist organization, especially the Fetullah movement of Turkey. But this current government has failed to do that. And you see, these groups, they come into your country, they launder millions or billions of dollars into the country, they invest in key sectors, they provide some form of whimsical scholarships to your people and to the youth, right? And even to some military heads in the form of what? Oh, educational cooperation. But then they're using that to infiltrate into your security apparatus system. So that tomorrow, if you do not succumb to their needs, they might trigger a coup d'etat in your country. And we've seen that in Turkey in 2016. Right? And so this current government, bless, has failed in this regard. And I want to put it across to the National Security Ministry that they have to wake up to the occasion and make sure that they protect the sovereignty and the key interests of this country. Bless. And so going back to the Niger issue, I think that it will be great that ECOWAS strengthens its military and security cooperation amongst its member states. We need to invest heavily as well in our security cooperation. And we need to make sure that we send a signal to the West and their proxies that we want to move forward from these mere aid cooperation and that of you. But we want to go from a impoverished society to a prosperous nation, right? Or a prosperous continent in this regard. Yes, terrorism is a threat to us, but I believe that with the right leadership, with the right funding, right, and with the right plans, we member states of ECOWAS can be able to mitigate the risk of terrorism. And we hope that the West would also contribute their fair share in us sustaining this goal.
Right, thank you, Ramsey. Haja.
Niger. I think I just want to stand on the premise that Gabriela said something that maybe if we don't take the right decision, the generation yet unborn will suffer. I think those before us didn't take the right decision. That's why we are suffering. I'm saying this because when Nkrumah was talking about African unity, because there were some group of people who didn't understand what Nkrumah was preaching, decided to rise up against him. They were for Boanye, the Nyerere. It took Nyerere, when he was going to celebrate, is it the 40th lesson of Kwame Nkrumah, when he came here, he said they didn't understand Kwame Nkrumah, which was a profound statement. Do you think the West are interested in having African having peace? When we have the peace, where are they going to sell their guns? Where are they going to sell it? So it is incumbent on us Africans to think outside the box and say, enough is enough. In Nigeria, we are brothers and sisters. Niger, we are brothers and sisters. So what can we do to make sure we don't even allow the arms and ammunition to cross our borders? It's very, very important because we don't manufacture those guns. Currently, there's a law that they're trying to pass in Parliament. I learned it's at Cabinet through the Small Arms Commission and so on and so forth. Then I posed a question the other day at the UNDP meeting. I said, we're talking about light weapons, infiltration in our destiny. Why are we not asking where the ammunitions are coming from? Because it's very, very important. We don't manufacture guns. And who gave the people the license to import those guns into our country, whereby it will go to the wrong hands? I can tell you that neither the West or East would like Africa to have peace, because how can they allow us to have peace? No, we'll be busy fighting whilst they'll be busy stealing our natural resources. That is the agenda of the West. Well, the Russians, frankly speaking, my son anyway, maybe I'll let him understand well. He didn't recognize me well. You see, it is power play. It is true. The Russians want to take over, the Chinese are there, and then the Americans. Now, if you are saying maybe the Turkish are here, maybe if you're not careful, they trigger a coup. Who has been triggering the coups in Africa before the Turkish and maybe those Islamic countries came to our country? The owners of the drones. You see, the owners of the drones. So if we are condemning, let's condemn all of them. All of them, because they don't give us aids because they want us to be okay. They don't give us loans because they want us to be okay. The loans that comes with conditionalities that our generation yet unborn will even come and they will not understand why. That's what we should be looking at. Not piling debt. Not making sure our youth have been conscientized enough not to fall prey to this victims to those groups.
Yeah.
Because me, at times, is it because I'm a Muslim? If they say the Islamic group, I don't feel comfortable because even the Holy Quran teaches us not to even kill anybody. Live peaceful with your neighbor. The neighbors are the people who are not Muslims.
Yeah.
So why should you go in the name of Islam and killing and you think you are a Muslim? Like the Boko Haram of Nigeria. Some of them cannot even recite the first chapter of the Holy Quran. But one thing I'm not happy about is if any other person causes any damage, sort of, how do they call them? But if the person bears a Muslim, they said extremist or maybe what? Jihadists and what have you. They want to call some name that will Islamize the whole thing. It's not there. It has nothing to do with religion, whether Christianity, Islam, and what have you. Look at what is happening to Palestinians. You know, some of the Christians are misunderstanding the whole thing and thinking that it's about Islam and and Christianity. Meanwhile, there are many, all of us there, the Christians and Muslims are all suffering in Palestine. So I think in going forward, especially the Nigerian, the Americans are going. They've agreed to go. What is the ECOWAS doing? If people were thinking outside the box from 60, 50 years back, when they said African unity, would have been having a military force, maybe Africa, based in Nigeria. If it's maybe, I'm just giving an example, based in Ghana, and then we share the portfolios. We wouldn't have been talking this morning. We started about African unity before the EU. Look at where they have reached now. So I'm saying that what we can do to save Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, the other one is what? Guinea. I think it is not a threat of expelling them from ECOWAS that is the solution to the problem. But what we, like I told you, we went for a program at Best Westminster. Normally I would tell no money because of Westminster Foundation that I'm working with. I know the ladies who came there when we were going to issue a communique, they protested. They said no, they were supporting the juntas. So have the African leaders, the ECOWAS, been able to penetrate and understand the whole scenario in the country before they are putting sanctions on them? No. Because the people themselves said, this is what we want. So what culminated into that? Because Americans are there, Russians are there, but people are still dying. The country is being attacked. So if you are there, you cannot protect us, then what are you doing on your lands? For me, Africa, we have to think through our leadership very well. Because I think we have to come together as Africans. But you know, is it out of ignorance or selfishness? That is why our leaders don't want to sit together and look for a solution that is African. During the President Kufuor era, we were at the conference center when they interviewed Yoweri Museveni. They said, the deliberation, we learned Africa, all of you are coming together. To, oh, no. If I go to my country and tell my country, Africa are going to have one president, they will kill me. So you see, even the leader of a country doesn't even understand. Yeah. So how do you expect an ordinary person in the country to understand that? So I think we have a lot to do as Africans. Let's see what we can do, because when Niger was in crisis, our businessmen and women suffered. They suffered because most of them who import onions from that region, their trucks, some were bent, some were delayed. Before they arrived in Ghana, half of the goods all went bad. So I think it is incumbent on us, even Ghanaians. Our leadership should be head on a position taken about what is happening in the Sahel region. It is very, very important. You see, this cosmetic way of handling issues will still come back to Bata. Do you know, I learned the Burkina Faso guy, more than 10 coups were attempted on him. Yeah. So why? Why? Look at somebody, the people, his message is resonating with the people, they are following him. In the crisis, he's building the biggest hospital in Africa. Meanwhile, he's under attack. It's sad, you know, it's sad. But I'm not sure that was what our forefathers fought for Africa. I'm not sure. It's really sad. And then, as Gabriela said, the generation yet unborn will suffer, and then instead of them praying for us, they'll be cursing us in our graves. And I don't want to be cursed. Right. So I want to be a part of a solution that will bring peace in the sub-region, or for that matter, Africa.
Right. Now, away from that, Haruna Idrisu is the member of parliament for Tamale South. He is one member of the NDC that you can't look past. When he talks, you listen. He's a former minority leader until, I think, 2022, when the issues came up, and then consequently had to be... Mm-hmm.
He's a deputy minister, former minister of communication,
Former
minister for trade.
You didn't see all this.
But I said that he's a big person. But I stated already that he's somebody who talks. When he talks, you listen.
So you have to use his credentials so that you also don't know him.
Everybody knows Haruna Idrisu. Everybody knows.
Only NDC didn't know him. But
You just repeat what I just said and let's continue. Don't listen to Haji.
you listen to me.
He's been making some comments regarding the candidature of Dr. Bawumia, especially going into this election. He says Bawumia would suffer credibility issues as a habitual lying politician, and he used those exact words: habitual lying politicians. Why is he saying that? According to him, the tendency to promise without delivering has undermined Bawumia's credibility among the Ghanaian electorate. We are determined to capture, and he spoke with regards to some seats in the Upper West region. He says, we are determined to capture all 11 seats in the Upper West region. Nana Addo Dankwa and Dr. Bawumia have only moved Ghana from Ghana beyond aid to Ghana beyond borrowing. We can't borrow because they are making it impossible for the country to rely on external borrowing to finance their budget and deal with the deficits. Speaking in an interview, he criticized Bawumia's recent attempt to distance himself from the current administration led by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He argued that Bawumia cannot selectively disassociate himself from the government's actions, asserting that if he does not wish to bear responsibility for its failure, he should not claim credit for its successes. The Tamale South MP asserted that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led administration has mismanaged the economy, that the opposition, National Democratic Congress, under the leadership of John Mahama, will inherit. We are aware that President John Mahama will inherit a problematic economy to manage. Our efforts would focus on stabilizing the economy and embarking on major constitutional and administrative reforms. On that note, I'm coming to Gabriela Tete. I want to find out from you with the very last statements that he made. We are aware that President John Mahama will inherit a problematic economy to manage. Our efforts would focus on stabilizing the economy and embarking on major constitutional and administrative reforms. The question I want to ask you is that we know for a fact that Ghanaians have, I wouldn't say overblown expectations, but we have very high expectations of every government. And we know the current situation with regards to the economy and what even neutrals have told us is that it will take some time, not 4 years. It's going to take some time for us to, return to former glories, to be the Ghana that we were. I wouldn't specify any particular period, but we know that we've had better periods than this current administration, especially in the last 4 years, where we've been saddled with a lot of debts and would have to resort to the IMF for a financial bailout. There's so much that ought to be done. I've listened to the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress. I've been to a few seminars. I've been to Wisconsin when he spoke on his education policy. He met Nagrat at the Nagrat Lyceum, and I think he met Nagrat as well as NAT and a few other of these teacher unions, where he tabled some of the things that he'll be doing. And all these things will be done in 4 years. The construction of 6 new universities in the 6 newly created regions, a military barracks in all the regions. He's going to construct schools here, he's going to construct schools there. And we know our financial situation. We can't borrow in the coming years. My question is that, where are we going to get all of these monies to execute these projects?
That's a very good question. But I think that you deviated from the main point of what we were supposed to be discussing. We're supposed to be discussing the credibility of Bawumia.
You can tackle that, and then but my question is so important. That's one question that's always been on my mind.
I'll conclude on your question.
Right.
But let's stay with the topic, because that's what we've tabled for discussion. And then I'll conclude and I'll give you a response. There's a response to your question, a very valid one. I'll give it to you. Don't worry. Honorable Haruna Idrisu happens to be one of our finest politicians from the NDC party.
I just say you are gaslighting you.
Not at all. He's a member of parliament, I think four terms now. He's a former Minister of State holding 3 very important portfolios. He's a very intelligent man. When you spend time in the presence of your meeting, having discussions, and you listen to the contributions of Honorable Haruna Idris, I mean, you walk away feeling that you've had an experience with somebody who has actually shared knowledge with you. And I always
that actually wows me.
And he's one of the politicians in NDC that I have a lot of respect for and I admire greatly. Yeah. The comment you made about Vice President Bawumia and the candidature of him as a flag bearer, he hit it 100% spot on. We were here in 2014, 2015. When I'm not even going to go with when Bawumia was with Akufo-Addo contesting at North. Let's stay with Bawumia in 2012 to 2016. We were here when Bawumia told us in his lecture, Restoring the City, that if we continue to print money into the system, if we don't put restrictions on how much spending government and Bank of Ghana supports the fiscal, it's going to have consequences on the cedi. And that's at a time when the cedi was 2.8. He told us that a depreciation of 1.2 to 2.8 meant that the NDC was a complete failure. Today, as we speak, with Vice President Bawumia / flag bearer of the NPP, the cedi to the dollar is now 13.8. The lectures that he said, the knowledge and the theories that he was propounding, saying that he knew the solutions, he could not implement those solutions in his time as a vice president. Today, when Vice President Bawumia campaigns, he's done a complete 180 from Akufo-Addo's policies, and now comes to tell us that he's a man of his own and he has his own ideas and his own policies. Yes, this person was the #1 advisor on finance and the economy to President Akufo-Addo, by virtue of the fact that Akufo-Addo himself said that this is his most trusted economic advisor, that he, Bawumia, chairing the economic management team, has brought so much to this country. Today, you and I, we are complaining about the price of bread, sugar, egg, shito, every single thing we are complaining about. They could not, he, Bawumia, could not do anything about the currency. He has not been able to do anything about the economy. He's not been able to do anything about jobs. He's not been able to do anything about unemployment. In fact, unemployment today is higher in the last 20 years. And the youth are disgruntled. They don't know where the jobs are going to come from. People who are educated, a country that has invested so much in tertiary education in people, those people are now underutilized as drivers, Uber drivers. And we take comfort in this fact that, but you know there are no jobs, and we are trying, we've done one district, one factory. Those factories that they put out, half of them are not even operational. Bawumia told us that through digitization, Kayaye's, up to date, I still don't understand how that thing even works. How has digitization reduced Kayaye? He promised them hostels. Have you seen any one hostel that Bawumia has delivered to Kayaye's? Today, if we go to Medina Market, we'll still see girls carrying headpans overloaded with people shopping, and there's nothing digitization about carrying headpan on your head. So blessed, if we were to come and analyze Bawumia and the candidature of Bawumia as a flag bearer and the potential president of this country, as a matter of fact, Bawumia as a president is going to be even worse than Akufo-Addo as president. Basically because everything that he himself said he could not execute. So in terms of credibility, I mean, we all know, based on even the examples that I have given, that in terms of credibility, he is just not there. Then on your question about how the NDC is going to finance all these things that we say we want to do. Yes, you have to understand something fundamentally, that our candidate, our flag bearer, is somebody who has had the opportunity to lead this country before, as a vice president, as a president. Let's forget his time as minister, MP, assemblyman, all that. Let's stay with vice president and president. We know that currently we are blocked out of the external market. What are the things we'll have to do to give the reassurance to the international market that they can do business with us? It's about credibility of government. And when you have a government that has been lying to the people, like the case of the NPP, you have to understand that it is that reason, that political risk associated with doing business with the NPP government, that has blocked the chances of the NPP to be able to secure any finance from the national market. The NDC, despite the challenges that we encountered in our administration, was able to succumb those challenges. There was a time when we were also having difficulties with the currency, with the economy. The values that we had budgeted for our cocoa and our gold, the price dropped, and it affected our balance of payment. It affected our international revenues, and we suffered the consequences of it. But we were still able to push through this country to the point where we went from 2.4 to 3.6 by the time we were leaving office. At the same time, despite the fact that we had met unemployment at almost 8%, we were still able to address and bring it down. At the time when we met inflation in double digits, 20-something, we were still able to bring it down to single digits. And despite the time that we were having those challenges, by the time we were leaving office, we were still within the teens in inflation. Bless. Finding money to run projects is not Einstein. There are certain projects that you can allow private sector to come and support you, like in the area of schools, in the area of roads, in health facilities. There's no reason why government has to build everything. Military barracks. Why do we need military barracks in every region? Because we've come to appreciate something about what the military barracks do. They support the police services to provide security within those regions. We have so much of them in Ashanti region, in Greater Accra, Western region, and some few small bases in the north. But if every region is able to provide that for every region, it improves the security in those regions. We were having a conversation earlier about this whole terrorism thing that is escalating. We've just been lucky that by the grace of God, they've decided not to venture. They've been trying to come down to Boku area. But we also have to be prepared ahead of any surprises that anybody can pull on this country. Additionally, having military barracks all over the region, the country, is going to provide jobs for the youth of those regions to also participate in providing security to the country. You raised another concern about, one of our projects, the first year, you were saying that how can we do all this in 4 years? If you followed the plan of the NDC, we've done an audit of projects that we were not able to complete. For the first year, we are going to use Government of Ghana funding to complete those projects. That means the problem with this country is not the fact that we don't generate revenue from taxes. The difference between the NPP and what they've been doing is that they don't put those taxes to productive use. So we don't even know where those taxes go. But we are saying that we are committing those taxes to completing projects. Additionally, when you look at how the NDC functions in economic management versus the NPP, the NDC is able to create financial buffers. We know classic case that we've been talking about a lot frequently is the ESLA fund because of the power challenges we are having. We have the Heritage Fund, we have the Stabilization Fund. All these funds were created to bring in revenues for certain things within the economy. And we are still able to create these funds to act as resource pools to fund activities. Today, under NPP administration, we've gotten over $10 billion in oil revenues. But we don't know what we've used our oil revenues for. Under the NDC, through the ABFA, we had proper budgeted projects that were being supported by oil revenues. So it's about you being able to match revenue to an activity, a budgeted program, and keeping those timelines and able to deliver on those projects. The NPP takes monies, tells us they are going to do a project. I want to give you an example. You see, when you go around the country, there are so many projects that the NPP has cut short for from 2017. They've not been able to complete those projects. In fact, they have decided to abandon those projects. And there are so many of them because that is how the NPP operates. They create it, and this is something that you, the media, you guys have to sit up and hold leadership accountable. When they go short-cutting and they take money, and they don't utilize those monies for what their intended purpose is. I'll give you another example. In 2015, the NDC signed a facility with JACA. It was a grant to develop the Yamransa to Assemprasu Road that connects us to New Edubiase, to Bekwai, to Ashanti region. Bless. The NPP did the road from Praso to Asemfosu. The rest of the monies, they can't account for it. So the contract that was supposed to have been phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, that road is very important to us in the central region because it connects us to the Ashanti region, and it allows those who are bringing in goods from Côte d'Ivoire and Takrady to be able to also pass goods to Ashanti region up north. But today, when you go and look at the state of the road, if you are not conversant with that road and you travel on it at night and you are not careful, bless, you go and fall into some pothole or tie will burst to be. All because somebody decided that we are going to do half the project, the rest of the money, only God knows where the money went. So in conclusion, I want you to set your heart at ease. Yes, John Mahama will only have a one-term, four-year, one-term government. But we know that, and we in the NDC believe, that with hard work and the fact that we're able to show accountability and transparency to the people of Ghana, our government under the NDC administration will not serve one term, but will get the opportunity to serve a second term with a new leader who will emerge from within our first term. So I want all of you to be at ease. We know what we are about. And we shall fulfill our promises to you. All right?
Right.
Be at ease.
Right. Thank you very much, Gabriela Tete. Although I am not satisfied with the
be at ease.
Not satisfied with the assurance. It is not assuring. It is not assuring enough. And I'm saying this because
it's 4 years.
I mean, this is just even only education, where you're saying that you are going to be doing this, you are going to be doing that, you are going to be doing that. And yes, I think it was yesterday that the Vice President also met Charles, the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary School.
I don't know what Pope Francis is going to do for him.
Right. And he also made some promises, except that for him, he says, my vision is to leverage the private sector and an enhanced credit system to expand educational infrastructure and support teaching and non-teaching staff to improve the quality of education and educational outcomes intimated. Dr. Bawumia elaborated on the strategy, emphasizing that the private sector would be incentivized to construct essential infrastructure such as dormitories and classrooms, which would then be leased to the government for a defined period, eventually becoming government-owned assets. Additionally, the government would facilitate the leasing of buses for schools. The Vice President highlighted that this innovative financing approach would address the challenges, particularly the substantial government expenditures of high initial cost and project delays in high school infrastructure due to delayed funding. If you put that,
Ghana's biggest challenge is corruption. And a lot of the time, when you are doing projects with leasing, the way for us, we are a bus that we should pay 5,000 a day for, we'll end up putting 50,000 a day on that bus. So in the end, that leasing is rather going to be more expensive for us than if we had actually bought a bus for the school.
But then also, is that not an admission on the part of the Vice President that, look, we wouldn't have the money to do it, and so we are going to resort to the private sector. But
he told us that the money was here. He knew where the money was. He still has some money.
But he's in power now. He knows that we do not have the money. Unlike the former president who is saying that he's coming to do all these things. He says that he would decap. And I was there. It's not like somebody is telling me. Yeah. I was there when he was saying all of these things, and I wanted to ask
because
him.
Get fund
and the media didn't get the opportunity. I wanted to ask him how will he do it.
That capping policy, if you take it off, it means that monies that are meant for Get Fund gets the actual allocation. Are you looking at it? Don't forget that anytime we go out and we buy anything that has VAT, NHIS, and Get Fund, they come together, all the three on the invoice. If you go and shop thousands, you see how much Get Fund gets on the invoice. These monies go straight to the account of Get Fund. The capital policy, what is done is that when it gets to a certain quantum, then those monies will not be given to Get Fund. It will be sent somewhere else. You understand? Yeah. But we are taking that thing of capping NHIS, capping Get Fund. That whole capping policy is going. Because Get Fund needs those revenues to pay scholarship, to provide essential infrastructure, including textbooks, furniture, teachers accommodation, school buses. There are a lot of things that Get Fund provides to the educational sector. And by the way, Get Fund is also a creation of the NDC. So when we say that we create pools to make money, we create funds to make money. So that's why I keep telling you that rest assured, be patient. NDC, we have men, but we don't blow our horns. Those who came and told us they have the men, we have seen the outcome of the men that they've brought. Today, they still can't even reshuffle and bring any better people. It's a problem.
Thank you very much, Carol Atete. Let me come to Hajia Amdatu. Hajia.
On what?
On the whole Haruna Bawumia.
But I cannot.
No.
No.
I know what you're about to say without talking about some of the issues Gabriela has raised.
Keep tracking to that topic. Frankly speaking, I won't come and talk about Bawumia's credibility because of what Haruna has said about him. No, that would be amount to helping the NDC, and that is not why I'm in this studio. What year are we in?
2024.
And 2024 is what year? Election year. So what do you expect? Everybody will speak in such a way that he will sell his candidate.
No, but you can also. Is it because the CPP doesn't have a candidate yet?
No, wait,
so
I'm coming.
There's no candidate to sell for the CPP.
I'm coming to that.
Aja proceed.
You see, NDC and MPP have a problem. Ask me why.
Why?
As soon as you speak anything concerning NDC and MPP, before you even leave this studio, either NDC are attacking me or MPP are attacking me. And that I'm not representing MPP or NDC on this platform. But you see, if you're talking about credibility, and you're talking about promises, everybody is promising.
Yeah.
Everybody is promising. Even the how. Rebecca will find it difficult to tell us the how properly because you're not even convinced. And I'm of the view that we are doing a disservice to this country. Ask me why, and I'll explain. this same studio, we spoke about National Development Plan. We don't have it. So it's about NDC plan or MPP.
We have a plan.
Manifestos.
We have a
You understand? We cannot rule a country based on manifesto promises.
So we have a plan.
Based on manifesto promises.
NPP doesn't have a plan.
All of you.
NDC has a plan.
You understand? Even your green book, I saw some this and then this, then the tracker too.
Nobody
Look at that.
has any stolen project in the green book.
For me, before I even say anything, I know Haruna very well. Haruna speaks his mind. And then if he wants to say something, he will not be economical with the truth. He will say it as it is. Maybe he is closer to Bawumia than me. Maybe he knows him better. So if he comes to say that the vice president will suffer credibility issues come 2024 election, that is December, I think it is left with the good people of this country to decide. I was saying something before this. I was telling Gabriela, maybe so between Bawumia and I don't know who is the eldest, and I remember Bawumia is older than. I wanted to say, well, maybe he learned it from Haruna. But politicians, we shouldn't come and promise something that we cannot do. We are accusing Vice President Bawumia because of promises that he couldn't fulfill, isn't it? We are doing that. But at the same time, we're also making promises that maybe, even if we are giving the 4 years, we cannot. So why don't we stop these promises and look at what we can do for the good people of this country? Because if you are saying you are going to build barracks in all the regions, it's universities that the NDC said the creation of the 6 regions was not even right. I was even thinking that they will say, oh, they will remerge the. In time they said that, then they will bring back the regions back. For me, Ghanaians will decide on the 7th of December. I don't have a candidate doesn't mean that I will not present a candidate. Afro-Franto sitting here, they have a candidate. They are even also struggling to land on a running mate. But they are ahead of us because they have their leader. It is due. And Gabriela sitting here has a leader. The MPP has a leader. So Gabriela, you understand why even downstairs I was telling you that I'm finding it difficult to say certain things. Because they ask, where's your leader? Because it's a fact. What moral rights have I got to talk about MPP, NDC, Afro-Franto?
You have an opinion.
No, I have an opinion. I have an opinion. No, I don't have an opinion on his credibility. That one I won't talk about it. That one I won't talk about. You push me to say anything about any credibility, I won't say it. Because if I'm going to talk about the credibility of Bawumia, I start to talk about.
Is he your friend? The way you are going around the whole issue, it's like you don't want to learn. You are just going. No.
I'm saying that I will not criticize. I will not, based on what Honorable Haruna Idrisu said, I will not take that as a yardstick.
Okay.
That is why I'm saying that promises are made. Somebody will tell you
so
that
and
Haruna too. I told you it's my brother.
No,
I would have said something.
What do you think of Bawumia?
That is not your cup of tea. That is not your cup of tea. You are NDC, so don't ask me.
Oh, I just
whether I think about. It's a gentleman.
Okay, that's
a gentleman. Yes.
What like the way John. What about his governance style?
John Mahama is a gentleman.
How do you
let me tell you something. This country, if you are not careful, will divide ourselves. Even though we are divided, but at a point in time we can maybe converge. Just because for the betterment of the country.
Is this an issue for convergence?
I think you are campaigning for the very reason why the
which
movement
one
for change.
Which movement for change? You know, Alan is my uncle. I don't want to go there. He was in an elephant belly for how many years? You understand? Let me tell you. When my own uncle, Pakwesi Indu, the first time he took the position in MPP, I organized women to go to Parliament. I didn't know Parliament, they were not clapping. You know, when he spoke, we were clapping. They said, hey, those women sitting there, I'll send you out of Parliament. Because we were so excited. The questions they were. So when President Kufuor won the second time, I went to Dr. Ibu to tell him personally, don't take any position. That's why I was against him at our Congress. So where was Alan? The first 4 years, he didn't see it. until he realized that the second round will not favor him. So as for Afra,
Oh, no.
let's talk about it some other day. He's my uncle. I said don't bring Afra here. He's my uncle. I don't want that. Me for politics, I don't use politics to run a person down because of politics. Me, I don't fight my John Mahama is my brother. Baumia is my brother. Alan Chermantin is my uncle. But unfortunately, I don't have a candidate yet. You understand? So for me, if Haruna is calling or criticizing Dr. Baumia, he has the right to do that because he also wants to come back to power. You understand me? He wants to come back to power. So whatever he will say, whether all what he's saying is 100%, he's trying to convince Ghanaians to look at his candidate, which is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So why do you blame him? I don't blame him. Because if I also have a candidate now, I will make sure, even if the person is black, I'll paint it white. Why? Because I want Ghanaians to vote for the candidate. But you see, Gabriela wants to box me in a corner, and this morning she will not box me into that corner. No, because she turned into a host. Instead of you to tell her, you are not the host. You allow her, and you think Gabriela will bully me. She cannot. The most important thing is that is the observation of my good brother Haruna about Dr. Baumia. He talked about failed promises, and Gabriel also spoke about the exchange rate when it was 2 cedis. Is it 2 cedis or something? Yeah, sure. And now it's 16. So me, I just want to ask a question. It's 14 today. So are we going to say that when DC come to power tomorrow, it will come back to 2 cedis 50%?
Oh, when the 24-hour economy takes effect,
you see, no. So in criticizing, we have to make sure.
Hopefully,
we are also saying that maybe that it's 14, but we will try and bring it maybe to 6 or 7 or 8, based on the 24.
I think what primarily we want to see is stability.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We want to see stability.
Absolutely.
Because in times past,
how can we see stability when we are importing more than we are exporting?
Yeah.
That's why the 24-hour economy is coming into help us.
We are importing more than we are exporting. Now, go to the all areas in Accra have turned into business centers. No residential areas again. It's Legon, airport, all marketing places. All filled with foreign goods. Our taste for, if that our taste doesn't change, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jesus Christ will come, it will still be the same. Why? It's because our distance for foreign goods is too much, and I don't know when we turn to be Europeans and Americans. American grain rice, long grains. Meanwhile, when I was growing up, I've told you before, my father was a contractor, but at the same time a farmer. All the rice that we were cooking in our house was from the Kwalgo distance that he was having. We have the long grains, rice water, say jollof rice, rice water rice, all. And now, currently, go to Fumbisi and see the farm. So what are we doing to help them to be able to produce more and then maybe feed our Ghanaian market? Gabriela, do you take Ghana rice?
Yes.
Which one do you take?
It's called Petra, provided by Anabo Akando.
Oh, Akando. Oh, okay, that is farm.
Yes. Very fresh rice.
So you see, what are we doing to encourage? Akando is in opposition. Does that mean that maybe if we can have the opportunity to bring tractors at subsidized prices based on what he's doing will help?
In fact, he has 2 rice mills.
The issue about us as Ghanaians, whether we like it or not, we kill businesses because they are not part of us. True or false? It's true. It's true. This morning when I was coming, somebody was talking about Maslow, that the lady who was jailed 10 years. And then the peace guys were saying that the Maslow is for NDC and MPP. If you go there with your party card,
they give you loan.
They'll give you loan. So I said that's why we are not getting awards, because anyway, I've not applied. Some people of mine applied, they didn't get. So how can an establishment that is supposed to be financed by government have party colors before you can assess it? So if you don't come out of that it will be difficult for us.
You're preaching exactly what we're preaching.
I'm not preaching you, you're preaching. Come in here and shakara me.
That is why you should have gone straight and answered the question of Baumia's credibility.
No,
now you are.
No, but the issue is that that is somebody's perception about Baumia.
The question to Malam. Straight road. Hajia has taken us to Mar7 to Soutwom to Abelempe to. We are not on the N1.
No, I'm at Jorapa Road. You won't get me to do that. You won't get me to do your propaganda for you this morning. I will do it.
Right.
So for me, Haruna wants his candidate to win.
That's why he's making these comments.
By all means, you portray the potential threats to his candidate in the way that he will not be born. And he has the right to do that.
Right.
Have I come to the mirror?
No.
What you want?
Right, I'll do a few messages before I come to Dr. Ramsey. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning, my good brother. Truth be told, Honorable Haruna Idrisu has spoken the minds of a lot of Ghanaians, and I totally agree with you 100%. The 2024 election is going to be based on trustworthiness, experience, and credibility crisis. Dr. Bawumia, in my humble opinion, cannot be trusted because he faces credibility crisis. The NPP as a political party came to power based on the lies they told Ghanaians, and it is the same lies that will take them back to opposition. 2024 election is also going to be based on who has been tried and tested with experience, and this is where President Mahama stands tall among all candidates. My greetings to my sister Jamdatu. I miss her a lot, and she should look for me small. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Right. Good morning, please. I think you people should find something better to tell Ghanaians and stop talking about Bawumia. Oh, the man is born to lie. Please tell me, after Bank of Ghana, where did he work as an economic waste kid that they call him? If no, then we better call him economic destroyer. Thank you so much for your message. This one, you didn't tell me your name and where you sent your message from, unfortunately. It says, please, I want to know this. Why is Akufo-Addo renaming institutions and projects his predecessors did? Is he the only wise person in Ghana? This is absolute madness. Now he wants to rename whole technical university. I know very well that he's going to face strong resistance from my good people in the Volta region. Thank you, Samuel. Ayebeng sent this one. Moses Salajo says, good morning to you, or watching you live from Lagos in Nigeria. Thank you, Moses. Rukaya Abubakar says, Hajia, this platform is for Ghanaians to know the truth about our leadership and to choose the right person to form the next government. You must be bold enough to do the propaganda. Right. Thank you, Rukaya, for a message. This one here says that Ajambore Baba from Yamose, when it comes to developing Ghana, Mahama, the visionary nation builder, is far ahead of the deceptive Bawumia, who only led the economy into a ditch. No single school, hospital, or roads have been constructed with the huge borrowings, only corruption, loot, and share, doomsday, and unprecedented economic hardship. Thank you so much, Baba, for your message. Kujo Tete says, good morning, Pan-African TV. Good morning, Kujo. ECG only distributes power they get from Gridco, who also transmit power they get from power producers, who also are only able to generate power when the right conditions exist. So blaming ECG for current doomsday will be an act of will be a disingenuous act. The ultimate responsibility lies on governments to provide fuel, which will be supplied to the thermal power points in order to produce power. It is solely the doing of Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, who have completely mismanaged the economy and left the country in debt distress. Osman Chalamanyam says, good morning, Pan-African TV, watching you live from Greater Accra Airport residential area. Thank you for your message. And on that note, I come to Dr. Ramsey Yunusa.
Bless. Let me first and foremost make this statement that the Ghanaian society would never and ever take scriptural lessons from a drinking bar. When I hear my brothers and sisters from the other side, the NDC, and equally the MPP, chastise each other, they should for once know that they have governed this country for 32 years now. And 32 years, both of them have led us down to the drain. Dr. Bawumia, for want of a better word, I think that has become now an economic clown that is being celebrated by many in the College of Clowns, I'll put it that way. Bless, we quite remember when the NDC was in power at that time. He led a series of lectures across the country, economic lectures, on how he was going to salvage the economic situation in this country. We quite remember a popular statement he made that when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Today, let's look at all macroeconomic fundamentals, including the exchange rate. Hasn't it exposed him? And so if today we, under the Movement for Change, also make a statement that both the MPP and the NDC suffer credibility crisis, I think that the Ghanaian society will clearly vindicate that statement. The same is also connected to the former President John Mahama. Someone who is now saying that, oh, vote for me. When I come into power, I'll be able to turn the fortunes of this country within 4 years and leapfrog this country from poverty to prosperity. We quite remember, we've not forgotten that he inherited a growing economy from the able leadership of His Excellency, the former President John Evans Atta Mills of beloved memory. Of an economy that was growing to rising to 14% in 2013, and took this economy, sinking economy, to 3.8% to the IMF. And he is the same person who is telling us that he will salvage the economic situation with the 24-hour economy. I mean, you can't come and talk about 24-hour economy by just putting it in the minds and the eyes of Ghanaians. Tell us how you're going to do it. Right? When you put up a policy, give us the how factor. How are you going to do it? What are your timelines? What are the targets? You could not even manage the energy situation. We had Dumso under your leadership. For 24 hours even under his leadership, we could not even have a sustained power supply. Yet you want to promise us of a 24-hour economy that you would use to enhance industrial transformation in this country. Look, and you see, Bless, you said something here that we've been debt-ridden as a country. How then do we go beyond this current economic dispensation? And I clearly agree with Hajia that we need to go beyond party manifestos and have a long-term developmental plan that was even envisioned by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And so on this platform, I've said on countless occasions that the Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin is the reincarnation of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Bless. And I have every right to say that, and I can vindicate this statement with a lot of facts. Look, Bless, there's something that you media folks are not talking about, and I think that I have to bring it to your attention. If you are going to Kumasi, on the way to Kumasi, you look at Ejisu. If you look towards your left, coming from Accra, you realize that there is some development going on a large piece of land. Yeah. And it's called what? The Greater Kumasi Industrial City. Whose vision was that? And whose plan was that? It was Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin, where he created a plan, formulated a policy, and by virtue of that, he had free money from the World Bank, $30 million. And he had $150 million commitment from the Korean government, which was not on the borrowing books of government. That is innovative. That is the kind of leadership that we want. Not like the NDC Commander Sugar Factory that it was valued at $12 million, but he ended up borrowing $30 million for that project. And that today, It's a project that the private investor does not even want to indulge in, which the Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin has tried as much as possible to revamp this sugar factory. Aja, when we say Bawumia and Mahama, I think that they are the same, they're different faces of the same coin. And so I can group them together. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, bless, I say this, that if he's sworn in as the next president of this country, bless, look, I'm sure a lot of our people will start jumping into the ocean and start swimming to the Western world. Because you have clearly failed Ghanaians on all avenues. Today, look at the cost of living in Ghana. Bless. And I always say this, that if you earn less than 10,000 cedis currently in our country, Aja, you can't survive. You can't survive. Aja, we are surviving by grace. By grace. But if it's by the current economic dispensation, Aja, I'm sure by now we can't even afford to even come to this studio, because look at the cost of fuel today against the salaries that we earn. Right? Bless. Look at unemployment in this country. Look at the cost of healthcare service in this country. Look at our road infrastructure. Look at the current anachronistic issue of Dumso that we have been plagued with. And after 32 years of the duopoly of the MPP and the NDC, we're stuck with the same issues. That today, 4 years of John Dramani Mahama is promising that he will lift from this country from poverty to prosperity. Please, the NDC should be the last people to even promise us of economic salvation, because they have had the chance for 16 years. Equally, the MPP have had the chance for 16 years, and they haven't contributed enormously to the social and economic development of this country. Bless. Look at a country like China. The Chinese society saw exponential development within a span of less than 40 years, right? Under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping in 1979 till date. If we compare this economic growth to us today in this country, and taking the fact that the duopoly of the NDC and the MPP have enjoyed enormous power equally for 16 and 16 years, I think that it is time to put an end to the NDC and the MPP. And they have divided this country for far too long. And I agree with Aja that today, when you go to some state institutions that have to conduct their businesses in an egalitarian manner, right, irrespective of your party affiliation, today you go to Maslock, and if you're not a party card-bearing person, you will not be able to enjoy certain privileges. We've seen that under the NDC. We've seen that under the MPP. We need to go beyond that. Ghana belongs to everybody. We all pay taxes to the same state institution. So irrespective of which party is in power, I believe that you should enhance the delivery of public services unbiasedly to the people of Ghana. But both sides have failed. Bless. And let me reiterate that the great transformational plan, as Hajia reiterated, that we need to go beyond party manifesto, right? Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin, under his visionary plan for this country, someone who has been in government before, has seen it all, right? And has been a member of the current incumbent government, who has had exponential experience in both public and private life, has seen that, yes, as a country, we need to go beyond party manifesto and sit down with each other and formulate a long-term developmental plan to salvage the current economic situation. Today, the NDC are telling us that they're going to solve the depreciation of the cedi, right? How are they going to do that? Under the Great Transformational Plan, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin has proposed that the statutory percentage, right, reserves of the cedi, which is at 40% to the foreign reserve attributed to the cedi is at 40%, right, by the central bank. He wants to increase it to 70%, because the issue about the depreciation of the cedi is about demand and supply. And because of the current economic orientation of our economy,
which is an import-oriented one, we have the huge demand of dollar, right, in importing goods, finished goods to this country. And he has realized that, okay, let us increase the foreign reserves tax to the cedi by 70% by the central government. That will be able to mitigate the depreciation of the cedi. He has also tabled down long-term solutions under the GTP, which hopes to industrialize this nation, as he has already shown in his one district, one factory policy. That today, 5 of the leading automotive companies in this country, in the world, 5 of the leading automotive companies in the world are currently manufacturing cars in Ghana. Right? Bless. And this has a long-term vision to what? To ensure that Ghanaian companies, Ghanaian enterprises that are scattered across each and every district will be able to add more value to the natural resource endowment of their districts. So today, if you take Atiwa, we have bauxite there. So people in the Atiwa district can then create enterprises that can mine the bauxite. We have another company that can refine the bauxite into steel and then sell it to these automotive companies to fabricate chassis of cars. This is innovative. Right. When we do that in the long term, Ghana is going to what? Export a lot of finished car products and also enjoy the benefits of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which was one of the brainchild of Honorable Alan Kojo Tramanto. So today, we are celebrating a Pan-Africanist. We are not celebrating a local champion that has failed on so many occasions. When I say local champion, I'm talking about His Excellency, the former president, and also the current vice president.
Right, thank you very much.
Ramsey just delivered Alan Chairmantin to be slaughtered. Number 1, John Mahama was vice president to Atta Mills when the grain economy you were talking about was developed. 2, you talk about no development plan. The NDC developed the 40-year development plan with the support of the UNDP. At the time Akufo-Addo's administration took over, they said they don't have the latitude and the wisdom to go with the 40-year development plan. So they want to go with the mid-term development plan. And they shoved the 40-year development plan. That act alone made all the commissioners at NDPC resign on principle. 3, he talks about the fact that Mahama plunged us into an energy situation. It was the same Mahama who brought those plants, those generators, the car power ship that has docked in our waters, providing us energy that is keeping the lights on. It's the same Mahama that brought the Ameri plants. That's two of those generators have been sent to Ashanti region. And because of that, Central region and Western region, we are having energy crisis every single day.
There's this page on Facebook called Okipku Sogwa. I think yesterday they posted this thing. That
last week when I was in Cape Coast,
they moved
every single day, light off. In fact, I'm telling my executives that we should go on demonstration. The way I've made demonstration in Central region.
Hajia lives at Kwabinga. She's been experiencing same.
She said she lives next to the plant. She doesn't suffer light off.
Please. This is the national television. Let me allow you to go with it.
Let me finish with Alan.
It is not
okay. Write it down.
I didn't say that.
Write it down. When I finish with Alan, you have your
light off 3 days ago. But Saturday.
You people are making me.
Saturday.
No, so I said Saturday. I was outside.
If we are dealing with Alan, let me finish.
I don't know
Alan.
whether there was light off, but by the time I got home, the lights were there. And yesterday, the whole day I was there. But we too, we've been experienced. I didn't say we don't experience.
Yesterday they surprised me. Yesterday I thought they were going to tell us.
We shouldn't have been experienced light off. Quote me well.
Thank you. Back to my issue.
Which issue?
I'm talking about Alan Chairmantin. Share. He brought himself. Now, today, under a government, in fact, when I finish, I can give the rest of the time to you. You can even take us to 11 o'clock. Bless. We were here when I was listening to you and Kwame this morning talk about the overdependence on hydro.
Yeah.
It was under the NDC that we changed that equation from overdependence on hydro to thermal. In fact, had it not been the fact that the NPP has managed their finances, this country should not even be in doom so.
I think that's my point. I mean,
They shouldn't be in doom so. It is purely a mismanagement issue. It is mismanagement of a currency which you use to buy the power and you use to buy the fuel. And the fact that your managers and board at ECG is not accountable and transparent to the producers of that power. But let's take with Alan. He talks about the credibility of my candidate. Hey, Ramsey, your candidate is the longest serving trade minister in this country. Your candidate was trade minister under Akufo-Addo for 7 poly years.
6 years.
We should use this. Very well, we'll use this. 6 years. Poly 6 years.
Never been president before, never been vice.
No problem.
So please continue.
Bless. Today, you are talking about the fact that this country is overly import dependent. So the 6 years when your candidate was trade minister, what was he sitting there doing?
We had a positive trade balance.
The statistics doesn't show that. You said that now we are importing cars, we are producing cars here. Have you ever, I know you've not gone to Japan, so you don't know what the Toyota place looks like.
is it
But
the one on the
not that one. That's a workshop. I'm talking about the real Toyota in Japan.
Oh, okay, you mean Japan.
But I'm sure you can go on YouTube to see how a car assembly plant develops, creates jobs. Some company is subcontracted to provide lights. Somebody provides bulbs. Somebody provides aluminum for the body. Somebody does the seat. Somebody does this, somebody does that. You are bringing cars that are completed minus tires to Ghana. Come and fix tires in Ghana. Come and spray it. Put rubber on the seat and tell me we are doing vehicle assembly.
Yes, I think that.
What joke is this?
Oh.
Please. Please.
RLG. Talk
Please.
about RLG.
We are talking about like
No, but talk about RLG. You are here. You've been in Ghana before.
Next time.
Talk about RLG.
What about RLG?
RLG. So are you telling me
Were they
that
not
the laptops
assembling
and then the mobile
laptops
phones
here?
was
Were they not
manufactured
assembling
100?
mobile?
Exactly.
They brought you pieces and they assembled it here.
Exactly what they are
There is
doing
a
here.
difference between what RLG was assembling
Look
and
at
how you are
Tantanka.
assembling cars. The cars you are bringing, the engine is already sitting in the car.
Oh,
The valves and all the sensors are already fitted on the car. At least, if we ever come and talk about automobile industry, aside Tantanka, so we can say that they bring pieces. They bring pieces and they assemble car. Now you are bringing me car that you are fixing tires under and then put rubber on the seat and tell me you are doing vehicle assembling. I'm not finished.
1 minute.
There's only same vehicle assembling. Bless. How many of these cars do you see on the streets of Ghana? When they started creating the polos, today you export it. When they brought the polos, these young Uber boys went and took loans to go and procure these vehicles. Within 1 year, they had no choice than to go and park those cars because the payment, they could not meet it. It was beyond their reach. The fuel on those vehicles, it was So now everybody is vet. And your Toyota that is assembling cars in Ghana does not see that the people want vets. So they should go and assemble vets for those boys. Please.
So let me make this. The last submission. Ghana runs a free market economy. We can't impose policies to companies to follow. We can't tell them what to do, right, and how to produce their vehicles. We have standards set by the Ghana Standards Authority that they have to meet. But we can't tell them
so
that produce
no,
it's based on their discretion that I want to produce this type of this model of vehicle. That's based on their discretion. We can't impose
don't
to them.
The people of Ghana are assembling the cars.
Bless. She said something here, and you see, we need to really. Maybe she doesn't understand the vision. But I will explain
your vision.
The vision.
Somebody who was there
the vision of
was part of the collapse of this economy.
No, but can you tell me?
can you tell me any trade and industry minister from your party that has been able to revamp the automotive industry?
We didn't have a policy.
Exactly. You didn't have a policy. You had no vision.
But that doesn't mean that we did not have policies in other areas.
When I say Honorable Alan Kojo Martin is the reincarnation of Kwame Nkrumah. Like, right? Bless. Nkrumah had that vision and he implemented it.
Nkrumah would have resigned if he was in Akufo-Addo's administration as Minister for Trade.
Nkrumah resigned from the UGCC.
That is Nkrumah. That is why you can't compare
Alan resigned from the MPP.
Please,
Alan resigned. Alan is Nkrumah, so if you don't know, for want of a...
In fact, 1 year into this competent administration, Nkrumah would have seen it and worked out. Not sit there for 6 years.
Now, there's been a lot of interjection there, so I don't think you will be fair.
Okay, I'll keep quiet. But if she says anything bad about my candidate, I'll come back again.
The automotive policy, Bless, has a long-term vision for this country. And we have to open our eyes to be able to see it. We shouldn't be blinded by the propaganda of the NDC. They have failed to revamp the automotive industry after the presidency of Kwame Nkrumah, and they claim they are Nkrumahs. They claim they are Nkrumahs. But yet, they claim they are Nkrumahs.
Rolly says it's not.
Oh, but their flag bearer claims he's an Nkrumahs. John Mahama claims he's an Nkrumahs. But yes, so you fail to achieve. You fail to achieve one of the exponential policies that Nkrumah introduced into this country under his leadership. Look, the automotive policy has a long-term vision for this country, and we need to get this straight. And businesses and entrepreneurs listening to us, the young ones listening to us, right? Toyota has come to Ghana. China, once upon a time, was not assembling vehicles. The Chinese began the genesis of automotive transformation and assembling in China, right? Started by they fixing pieces of vehicles in their automotive industries or hub in China. That was how it started. Today, the Chinese are producing vehicles from 0 to 100 from scratch. We are also starting up with the same plan, right? These guys are here to assemble their vehicles. They bring bits and pieces together, and then our engineers assemble it. We have a vision. We have resources. We have oil that can be transformed into plastics that we can use for the interiors of this vehicle. We have rubber trees there that we can leverage on and add more value to it so that we can be able to produce the interior aspect of these vehicles so that we can be able to export it and get foreign reserves, right? You have failed to introduce such policies. You have failed to achieve such milestones. And this leader of ours, Honorable Alan Kojo Martin, has been able to propagate or reincarnate the vision of Kwame Nkrumah. That today we can be proud as a country that we are manufacturing and assembling vehicles. Look, Bless, the automotive policy again. You see, there are a lot of things that come into place when we talk about a vehicle. There are different components. Today we have cotton in the north. If we establish and finance our farmers to commercialize the growth of cotton, if we also equip them with machinery, right, and the technology, they can be able to process it. We can then supply the automotive industry with finished products like materials that they can use for their car seats, right? We are adding more value to our resources. And by virtue of that policy, we can be able to enjoy a lot of foreign reserves.
Let me tell you about the Chinese automotive policy. The Chinese realized that they have the numbers to import the cars. The Chinese automotive policy was that we are not going to allow importations of cars. BMW, Toyota, all these brands, you want to bring cars to China, come and assemble, build the plant here.
That was not the genesis.
That was the genesis. And that is how they built their
The genesis of the automotive. because the Chinese had more skilled labor.
Oh, don't do this to me. Don't do this. Don't do this, please. As I'll do that to you next week.
That was when the Chinese bought cherry
no,
came. The cherry company, they
I disagree.
They constructed under assembly. They've not been able to complete the
Gabriella!
man wasn't there. Well, if you want to know, hold on.
I will hold on.
You have to stop people from importing Toyota. If you are assembling Toyota locally, that was what the Chinese
ban the importation of salvage.
Do you know something? In all
what the Chinese
this,
did.
I think all of us are looking at the way we are going to better our country.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Away from the NDC and MPP.
You know, car assembling, car manufacturing, even tapes and what have you. Sanoma, when I was growing up, I saw it.
Ghana Sano.
You see, we've gone through this journey before. You understand? So what went wrong? I think we should be looking at what went wrong, and then we'll see how best we can all do to salvage this country. You understand? Really? But the last thing I want to say, we had a very nice woman in this country. She was not very loud, but she was an air hostess with the Ghana Airways called Miss Ayetiga, Constance Ayetiga. The day for yesterday, we were at the prison's canteen to do her final funeral. And the daughter wants me to take this opportunity to thank especially the Frafra community and the Ayetiga family of Zwarungu and the Kanda estates and flats, the way they came up in their numbers to Bolaga, Zwarungu, to bury the woman. And the final funeral was held the day before yesterday. Shelley, that's Mrs. Ankra, says I should say thank you. Yes, she was with the Ghana Airways.
It was collapsed at the NPP with Alan as part of the government.
So, Shelley, I've delivered your message. Shelley is Mrs. Ankra. She's married to the Ankra and the Tuglo who family of the Ghana traditional area. So, Shelley. Thank you very much.
If my producers can permit me, just two messages, then we go. Good morning, bless. I admire Haja for being candid. Kinsmen do not denigrate each other. However, Haja should find some ample time to advise Dr. Bawumia to stop insulting JM. He was admonished by His Majesty Yana, but he has not listened to that fatherly advice. He openly castigates Mahama. Stephen Payne from WA sent this message. And the final message I'll do, this one is from Dipku Ishmael, also in WA. He says, he says, what is my lovely sister Haja Amdatu talking about? Was she not in Ghana when Honorable Ivor Greenstreet made campaign promises as CPP flag bearer from the CPP manifesto? MPP and NDC have never been the same and will never be the same because JM is an honest politician, while Bawumia is a competent gargantuan liar. The cool Ishmael, while Old Trafford, he said, I should say good morning to you as well.
Good morning, but maybe he didn't listen to me well.
Right. Right.
Somebody will say promises are made for convenience sake and can be broken a bit. I think people will have to be consistent if we want people to really believe and trust us. Promises, you can make promises, but what I'm saying is that if we're criticizing Bawumia for making promises and you're also making promises
that he has failed.
You are saying that. That is your ways.
The fundamentals are weak.
Thank you, Dr. Ramsey. Thank you, Haji Amdatu. Thank you, Gabriela Tete. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you on tomorrow. Yes, we are going off. I'll catch you tomorrow on the newspaper headline segment of the show and maybe the review segment of the show. Do have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.